Hello, my friends. Evolutionary Energy Arts family in the house. We see we got a good group already going.
This is fantastic. There's Energies 1111. And I see Matt and Jenny and DG 57, Rose War. Oh my gosh, what a great crowd.
Awesome to see you guys. Calvin, of course, Nuke, Brother Nuke.
Oh, sorry, kids.
Holy Roller in the house as well. And Judy K. Hope you're doing well down there in Florida. Chadash Culture, always wonderful to see you as well. This is more of a lighter, funner topic after the other two videos today. Did Nuke say he missed me? Or no, he's probably talking to somebody else. He can't be saying that to me. We got Chris Mara there. We got Riser as well. Vicky. Mercy Anonymous, good to see you. Brother Asaduzaman, much love.
Thank you so much, Ben. I appreciate it. He says, hello, family. May the source be with you. Cindy, thank you for all your hard work. I'm still processing all the information you gave me. Haha. But I'm optimistic and very grateful. And we are very grateful for you, too. It's great to see you here.
It's wonderful to see you, and thank you, Brother Ben. We appreciate your support. You've been a wonderful family member. And yeah, it's our honor, and we love to help you guys in any way we can. If you guys have been with me a long time, there was a time when I used to put out like 4 to 6 videos a day, and now it's a struggle to keep up with 1 or 2, just because we are really so busy seeing people every day, which is great, because before I did this channel, I was seeing anywhere between 4 and 8 people a day, 6 days a week, doing energy work and helping people, just get healthier in every way, shape, and form. But mostly energy work. And it's gotten now to the point where we're back into that range, and we're just trying to keep up with the videos as well, because it's so important, because we are going through this transition, and we obviously know all the stuff that's being done by the dark side, but yet the reality of the situation is we're changing in such a beautiful, positive way right now.
And thank you so much, Miss Wendy. She says, love your work, and we really appreciate your support. And yeah, I mean, it's been getting busy. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. A lot of things are changing. So it's going to be a really good show, I think.
Well, it's all about trying to help people understand the times we're in so they could do their best in these times, and to rise above the challenges, to recognize that ultimately, we're immortal, we're eternal. Ultimately, consciousness is what we are, and consciousness, in a vehicle right now, and the vehicle is changing, and the consciousness itself is changing, and in many cases expanding at a very, very fast rate right now.
Yeah, and it feels like the energy work and, even things that we take for granted, like just breathing, are so important. They're so imperative right now. It's like they really are starting to matter, because we are growing these light bodies, and we need to get through our blocks, because that's going to help us. And a lot of that might just be a matter of how you breathe.
Yes, most definitely. Brother Ray Ray's in the house, as is Brother Mad Max Bob Barker. And our dear sister Ricky, good to see you as well. And yeah, we can heal this world, and we will. It's obviously going to go through a lot of ups and downs and a lot of challenges. The dark side is attacking stronger, but we are growing stronger too. And we're going to end up in a place where the dark can't follow. And that's the bottom line.
Yes, we are. And we're going to keep working on it and working on it and working on it. And we got a lot of work to do together as a collective. But a lot of us have to work on stuff individual too. It's important we address our own hang-ups. And oh boy, do I have them.
We all do, and we're all working through them. So everybody is a work in progress. That's one of the important things to recognize. Also recognize not to get down. As we face these challenges, there's going to be times when maybe we don't do our best, maybe we fall short a little bit, maybe we have some anger, maybe we just dwell on the dark side for a while because we can't get over it, and that happens. And watching some things going on Twitter and just out there, the chaos and everything can be very disheartening. It could get you really, really sad, despairing, or angry. Yet ultimately what's going to happen is this whole system is going to go away, and we are going to go into a place where we have a golden age on Earth again. And the planet itself is ascending, and many of us check the Schumann on a regular basis. And I'll take a peek. I haven't looked at it in about 3 or 4 days, honestly. I know it's been riding pretty high.
Yeah, we just been a little bit busy, and appreciate you guys for all your patience. And a couple of you have been really nice in letting us scooch the schedule just a tiny bit because maybe we got a little bit busy or behind. So you guys have really been wonderful to us through this whole thing. So it looks like we have some spikes now, which is interesting, very interesting. And Mike is so cute. He's going through my tuning forks, so he's going to bring some more over here. He doesn't know, he just grabs a bunch. He is so cute, you guys. But it looks like we're going to be doing some tuning.
Let's start with sending some love and light as we're looking at the Schumann, and we can see it's getting spikes, and it's going up and down. Where are we at right now? Power's at 52 as far as the amplitude. So I've seen it stronger, but then again, it's ebbing and flowing, as does so much. The other thing I wanted to again mention to everybody is Discord, which is doing really, really great. And thanks to Scott and Vicky, thank you guys so much for working on this. I think it has been a godsend, and every time we look, there seems to be a lot of people in there having a good time and connecting, because we need to connect to each other, and there's going to be more connecting going on. Also, I see Crystal Core Art is in the house, so good to see you, sister. And if everybody could also just send her a little bit of healing energy. She has just gone through what could have been an extremely, and it was a serious health thing. So please send love and light her way, as she is most definitely a light worker, starseed, and a beautiful soul, and we love her. And so that would be wonderful as well. And now Cindy's got her fork ready. Mm-hmm. She's about to stick a fork in it. And so let us send a little love and light to everybody in the house, to everybody that is going to end up watching this, and then to the planet itself, that everybody might find healing. May you guys all be blessed with love, light, perfect balance and harmony and bliss.
Very good. Rizar says, I am open-armed for positive resonance. Perfect.
And Shadash wants to know, what's the frequency of that fork?
This one is a little bit of a secret, because it's like I ordered, this is one of the first ones I ordered, and it doesn't have the frequency on it. It's slightly different than all my others, but it just says triple warmer healer. I can find one that's a little bit close to that, and I'll let you know.
So yeah, she has a ton of them, usually scattered all over the place. But we're going to be talking about the light body. And what's fascinating is when you start going deep into things and comparing different cultures, this is the key. Is comparing different cultures, because then you start to see where people are talking about the same thing in slightly different language, but the same thing again. in culture after culture after culture, whether we're talking, say, like Taoism, or we're talking Kabbalah, or, we're talking Hermeticism, there's so many different traditions out there. But for the most part, you can find where we are talking about the same things. I keep going back to the Tower of Babel and viewing that as basically a draconian power play to try to keep us divided so we will not realize our full potential. But we're going to. Perhaps not everybody, because as we go deeper and deeper into this, it's all a matter of shedding that which you need to shed in order to allow the new energies to build. It's, as we were saying, it's about releasing, letting go, and kind of having that trust in divinity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, practicing that is practicing. It's like growing a muscle as far as it goes with releasing and letting go of all of your woes, all of your immediate concerns. And it's finding your center. And I think it is like working a muscle.
Yeah, so there's a lot to this, and there's different techniques to do it. And there's some systems which are extremely precise, like, you follow step A, then step A1, and then A1-2, and then, and then step B, and then don't jump to D before you do C, and other ones which are a lot more intuitive, kind of leaving the person to find their own way, but just giving them general guidelines. So you do find differences in some of the traditions in that way. And everybody is unique. And Ricky's body's been tingling today. So many people are. Yes. The energies are increasing. So we're getting used to having that feeling like somebody's doing energy work on us all the time. And, we worked on a couple people lately. One today said that, God, I've never felt energy like that before.
Right. Just a whole lot of energy running through the energy body now, and our 3D bodies too, helping pull us into alignment.
So you guys remember the movie Knowing? That was a movie with Nicolas Cage, and it was kind of it was a lot like the scenario that Douglas Vogt from Die Hole Foundation envisions to a degree, but happening perhaps to half the planet instead of the entire planet, getting fried by a gigantic blast from the sun. Well, there's these beings that at first they look like Nords, or what we would say is Nordic, aliens, Pleiadian-ish, sort of. And what they're doing is they're picking out people that are going to survive the oncoming cataclysm. And then they, quote-unquote, rapture them by taking them up in their ships. And they're cloaked in a human body, but in reality, this is what they look like when they shed that human body that is just really an illusion, so that they don't scare the humans, because they're really light beings, is what they are. Although they're able to operate on 3D and have ships come and take human children that will be taken to other planets for repopulation and brought to new Gardens of Eden.
Well, that sounds precious.
It doesn't. It was a good movie. And I'm sure quite a few of you guys saw that. So when we think of light beings and the light body, for a lot of people, something like this might come in mind. So Cindy says this is a fairly accurate representation of the colors as the Merkaba, if we want to call it the Merkaba, is developing, as she's been following mine. Every time we do our standing meditation, at some point, I'll say, "What do you see? What do you see?"
Yeah, but this is like a good color because it is a super, super white, super bright white with, so I guess, if I didn't see the blue, I only noticed the white, but it's almost like the blue enhances the white.
And blue can be a very angelic color as well. So our light body is our key to traveling anywhere, transcending the limitations that we have in the body as far as time and space goes. So it's just a matter of think about it and ye shall be there. And this, from what we have gotten from many different sources, including a lot of channeled sources, is the preferred way of travel for most of the beings in our multiverse.
Right.
Then there's others that do use technology. And this is a technology when you get down to it as well.
It is. It's something you have to learn to use and develop and practice and get to know and understand how it works. A lot of things that I think we don't perceive as technologies, I feel are technologies, like our emotions, I feel are technologies, because they can change the ether on inside of us and outside of us.
So a lot of what's going on right now is going to boil down to two different visions of the future. One is this natural vision of the future, which in my mind is really coming from Prime Creator, God's source. And this is the way things were intended to be, where we evolve, we learn how to develop the Merkaba, the light body, that immortal side of us that will allow us to transcend everything that is limiting us now in a natural way, without being assimilated into what the dark side wants, which is assimilation into the Borg. Ultimately, the merger of human with machinery so that we could be controlled and perhaps even contain the soul, the spirit, for an indefinite amount of time in almost a perpetual slavery. And this is what I feel is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, threat in reality to us. Mm-hmm. It's a big threat. And we don't want to go that route of becoming part of the Borg. Right now, if we die and we're not ready to go up into the higher realms, we go up into the astral, into 4D, and then eventually we take another body, come back down, do it over again. Somebody had made the comment before, I think it was in the last video or the video before that, of how reincarnation has been taken out of the Bible on purpose, and that's true, because there are other references to it, and there's a lot of references to it when we start looking at the non-canonical books, and think about why. Because if it is written that, this life is it, and if you go against the church, go against, the authorities, you could end up spending eternity in hell, then that's a lot of control. If you knew, well, when I die, I get to, do it all over again, basically, that takes a lot of power away, because people would think totally differently if they knew they were going to reincarnate, as opposed to having to obey the church, having to obey the rules of my religion. And if not, eternal torment is coming. So you can't really keep somebody in a completely lockdown state of mind if you know that you get a do-over when you're out of the body. Out of this body, you're going to do it all over again. So that's one of the reasons why that was all removed.
Well, yeah, and the do-overs, that brings me back to like third grade, when I would luckily I would get a do-over if I did something really kind of awful, or if I did a paper that was really awful, and none of us really want to do it over. But we are grateful if we get another chance. So I guess I kind of look at it that way. But I'm just ready to do it as best as I can this time, and it's important we keep our vibes high. If anything happens and things were to go wrong and anything happened to me, as long as my vibration is high, I believe at time of death I'll shoot straight up, I'll be good. And that's why it's just good to have a high vibe as much as possible all the time.
Yeah, and Ben said, the Reiki principles, most definitely. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. It's really not about dogma. Dogma gets in the way. It's about the essence. It's about the vibration. And it's about where we are in our hearts and our souls. We were talking a little bit about Hanuman and how he's one of the immortals of Hindu mythology. Interesting that we see immortals in different mythologies. And these immortals are still on this planet according to Hindu legends. And they're still helping us, even behind the scenes. And somebody had mentioned Maha-Avatar Babaji as well, which I did have a vision of in meditation, and I feel that, yeah, he is there somewhere around Mount Kailash. And we have the immortals over here in Taoist legend as well. And in Taoism, I mean, that is the purpose of QiGong, is ultimately immortality. That's really what it is. And we could also look to, as we look over here, this is Maha-Avatar Babaji, the Ascended Masters. And, you know, the Ascended Masters are beings that don't have to be here anymore. They've transcended the law of cause and effect and karma. So they really don't have to be here anymore, but they just choose to. Why? Well, because they're in service to others. They're trying to help us out, trying to bring us up. That's their purpose, is to help us. They want to help us. They choose to help us. And, you know, that's a beautiful thing. And many of us here right now don't really have to be here. We choose to come and choose to help others in this time, this key time. Because along some lines of thinking, if we don't make it now, as far as the ascension wave, you might have hundreds or even thousands of more lives before we get the next chance to ride that wave.
Yeah, if the more you learn, the better off you are. I feel the more you can put into your subconscious, what do you want to happen afterwards? What direction do you want to go? I think it's really important that we seed our brains with valuable, useful, high vibrational information, and it is our choice on what we choose to put in our brains. I feel like if we watch, for one, I'm one who I can't watch scary movies. If I watch a scary movie, it'll lower my vibration just enough. I'll have a nasty nightmare. And that's just me. Other people might be different. It might not lower their vibration, but that's just something that I choose not to do. And that choice does help me. And it's accumulative too. Like the more choices I make as far as what information I'm going to put into my body and my energy body and my subconscious, the better off I am.
So it's all pretty fascinating, because these things, these mysteries are just tucked away in the nooks and crannies of all the different philosophies and religions. When you get there, in many cases they have been purged, they have been kind of wiped out a little bit, so that we can't see it clearly. It's also interesting how when you look at all the different mythos and as well, they talk about different worlds. And so this is getting into Norse mythology, which, we had delved into some of that, Cindy and I. It wasn't my strong point by any means, still isn't. But again, you could clearly see how they're talking about these different worlds. And they're obviously going to be basically differences in density. So these are all on, you could view it as different dimensions, different densities. They're vibrating at different levels. And of course, when we look at like number 8 there, hell, as you were very familiar with that word, land of the dead. And then you have, it gets challenging, Svartala, say that, let's see if Cindy could get this one. Number 7, Svartalfheim.
Oh, goodness sake. Oh, of course, it's Svartalfheim.
Yeah, I'll buy that. Okay, so that's the home of the dark elves. And you get to Midgard, that's home of humanity, right? So we're on this particular, and then you go all the way up to Asgard, home of the gods. And it's the same thing in Hinduism, with even more worlds, more lokas. It's fascinating, though, just understanding this. And you know what? This is interesting, too. The Rainbow Bridge by Frost. The Rainbow Bridge that can take you from Midgard up to Asgard. So, interesting. Rainbow Bridge? Where have I heard of anything rainbow before? How about the rainbow body as well? As we were talking about that, awakening your rainbow body. And we talked about all the Buddhist monks. Tens of thousands have actually been documented. It's crazy. That many that have achieved the rainbow body. And it gets into awakening the lotus. Well, in Buddhism, the lotus is so important, but it also is symbolic of the body again, the energy body, the light body.
Yeah, and I did read something where, the lotus is, it comes from the depths of wherever it's from, like the muddy depths, and it rises up and it blooms and then it dies. It goes down to the depths, meaning the lotus can take any place it's at, anywhere, the depths of yuckiness, and it can become or make that place a very beautiful place.
So when the lotus of the heart awakens, the body glows with a golden light. The heart lotus represents the energetic fusion between oneself and the Tao. And the Tao is, it means the way, but it's the way of source, the way of nature. It's the way to oneness is what it really is. It also symbolizes the supreme light situated in the heart, which many can call the light of the divine. Awakening the lotus of the heart brings the practitioner into cosmic consciousness. And that's really what it's all about, is cosmic consciousness. And you've probably heard of Christ consciousness also, and it's the bridge to cosmic consciousness. In many different spiritual traditions, including Taoism, Hinduism, and Buddhism, the light body is referenced. And so, how is the soul and the lotus of the heart connected? According to Hindu tradition, the lotus represents purity and non-attachment, and is a symbol of bhakti, or love for God. Most people let their love flow towards the mundane world, but a devotee redirects his love only towards God, which, since God resides in the heart of everybody, then you are showing love to everybody. If God is in everything, including, the ant that's walking right below your foot as your foot's about to drop on it, and do you make that change in your step to save the life of the ant, or do you just squish? Are you squishing a little piece of God? Right. Think about it in that sense, and that leads you to ahimsa, which means no harm. Always trying to do as little harm as possible. And there are traditions that really follow that very, very strictly. So it's beautiful. And so, as it says, though God is present everywhere, it's in the heart or spiritual center that he manifests as Paramatma, or the super soul. The heart of the devotee is the Lord's temple room. Exactly. Like Christ said, destroy this temple. And he wasn't meaning the temple that was going to be destroyed in 70 AD by the Romans. He was meaning his body. He'll raise it up. And of course, we had Ascension with Christ after the death of Christ, although some believe he didn't die as well. So there's a lot of different traditions there as well that we could get into. But the lotus represents the heart. It also represents the light body. It's not the physical heart, but the spiritual heart that the lotus represents, which when the light body is developed, it can look like a lotus and have that radiance. And so in the citadel of the body, there is small, sinless, and pure lotuses of the heart, which is the residence of the Supreme. So again, God lies within all of us. Source lies within all of us. It's just to be cultivated. And I've always thought of myself as more of a left brain person, analytical and, studious. But it wasn't till I started to balance things through Bhakti. And I never would have thought I would have enjoyed the Bhakti path, because I'm not really one to sing and, things like that in the group. Not at all. I would be one of those where in church, or wherever you were at, people are singing, I'd be like, I just couldn't do it. But when I moved to Sarasota and started to go to kirtans, everything changed, and my heart just blossomed and it opened up, and something just changed in me dramatically. And it was through the practice of Bhakti. And it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And I never felt such exquisite love as that which was generated in these groups of usually anywhere from maybe 12 to 60 people, doing a wide variety of Hindu chants to Christian hymns to Native American tradition songs as well, Jewish. You You could name it, and we were doing it, and we were mixing them all together, and they worked. And it was just simply because it wasn't about the dogma. It wasn't about any particular tradition. It was just simply about the love that was being shared and the thankfulness. Love with gratitude towards Source. As Cindy has in her channelings gotten that when we take a prayer or a thought or an intention and we direct it towards Source, towards God, towards an angel, towards a deva, a divine being, we have to ask. Ask and you shall receive. If you don't ask, you're never going to really receive. So you have to put it out there. Then Source, the divine beings, they will take that energy, they will add to it, amplify it, and they will send it back down through the realms to manifest.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. So if you have, even if it's just Christ that you want to follow, if you say a chant or make up your own mantra with that energetic signature in mind, you send it to that deity, and then this is like an opening of the gates. This allows that deity to do work in your life. And you can use any deity you want. It's just a matter of your intention and holding that signature in your heart when you're doing it.
It's beautiful and it's so powerful. And whatever tradition you choose, just send the energy out with love and it'll come back amplified in a positive direction. So I got a little bit sidelined going down into Bhakti and talking about that. So it's the yoga of devotion and seeing the divine in everything. When you practice Bhakti, then you're really spreading love beautifully in a non-judgmental way. And, I've met some of the most beautiful people at kirtans, just amazing. And so again, it's all about to adore, worship, and just simply through gratitude, a feeling of loving gratitude. And I also say that because that's what I was feeling when I couldn't sleep in the middle of the night. And then all of a sudden, I had this strong feeling that something just changed. And that was when my Merkabas just really started to grow and change. And I was holding on to this feeling of loving gratitude, just lying there because I couldn't sleep. And last night was another night I couldn't sleep. I woke up at like 2:40 after going to bed at like 11:30. And really didn't sleep the rest of the night, but I feel great. So it was just, it was this amazing download that came through. So I wanted to just share that with you guys. That is a key. It is a key. And so as we talked about the different immortals, we talked about the ascended masters and about the different realms. Out of Taoism, we see all these different realms again. And here it's just numbered, and you can view these as densities, going all the way up from here on Earth to the realm of the primordial Tao, the source of all and everything. And it's so well illustrated in many different traditions, whether we're talking Buddhism again, Hinduism, Taoism, or you want to jump over into Gnosticism. We could talk about that as well. We could talk about Sophia, that divine feminine component, which is so absolutely necessary for physical manifestation. And we could get into the demiurge as well. We're all talking about the same stuff. And the fact that there's multiple dimensions, multiple realms, all sorts of worlds. So where do we start? Well, in QiGong, we start with rooting. And I'll tell people that when we're working on them, usually the first thing I do is send energy into the foot chakras and tell them, we're rooting you. Imagine roots coming out of your feet, sinking all the way into the core of the earth, where there's a giant ball of plasma, crystalline green, because green is a healing energy. It also loosens up stuck energies. Inhale that in. So learning how to breathe through your chakras is a major key to drawing the life force in. And then learning how to pore breathe, not only breathe through the chakras, but breathe through every pore in your skin. And it's just a matter of intention and practice. And just time it so that when you're inhaling in, visualize and feel the rush of energy into the body. And then as you exhale out, exhale anything that's toxic, anything that is negative, anything that's stuck, stagnant, any dis-ease back down into the earth, where the earth can transform it, because the earth is also going through her ascension. And she is a much bigger being than we are. So that's one of the keys, is first rooting to the earth. And here in Taoism, we talk of the golden light body. And it's one's immortal vehicle for spiritual freedom and independence. It transcends the limits of the physical world of time and space, while still living in the here and now. The goal can be attained and experienced in this lifetime. It's the ultimate meaning and purpose of life, and that's something that's kind of hidden in the West, for sure. I mean, when have you gone to church and heard about that?
Yeah, I know. They would never, they would say that you're messing with demons and all this stuff to keep you away from using this. And this is something that I feel that, when you grow your light body, the more and more you grow it, the more you can do. This amazing, amazing abilities just, come to the forefront. And, not everybody knows about it. And it's something that we all need to explore and see how that can benefit us.
Yes, most definitely. So, that's something that, it might, especially in these times. In these times, change is coming quick. Very, very quick. So, it's a different time we're in now. We could make so much, we can make a lifetime's worth of progress right now in one life. Lifetimes. Multiple lifetimes worth of progress can be had right here and right now. And it's just a matter of intention, and then also just following some traditions. You could, basically sort through different traditions. Like what I practice is a combination of so many different things. It really is. And this is the time to create new ways. So part of what's really important right now is that we learn to get past dogma. It's really the key, because we are integrating. If you are familiar with the law of one, Ra is a collective. It's a collective. It's not just one being. It's a collective of many that are acting as one. And it doesn't mean that they've lost their individuality, but there's a oneness there. So we are to transcend the individual dogmas and to, create our own ways now. We could use a little creativity and, view it as artistic expression as you do it.
It's what I feel it is. It's coming to an agreement to work on not just an individual basis, but an agreement to be in agreement with a larger collective. And that takes some doing, because an awful lot of people have to work through an awful lot of stuff, which is beautiful, because here we have the opportunity to do that.
And this, again, looking at Taoism, we see we have a physical body, we have an energy body, and then we have a spirit body. And these can correspond to the three dantians. The three dantians are reservoirs of energy, which, if you've listened to me talk before, I've talked about many times. And so there's a lower dantian, and that is all about physical energy, and it's about nourishing the physical body. There's a middle dantian, which corresponds to emotional energy. So the lower dantian is about 2 inches below your navel, and in the center point of the body. The middle dantian is between your solar plexus and your heart, and again, that's about emotional energy. And then the spiritual body, or the upper dantian, that's basically at your third eye point, and that's the upper reservoir. The goal is to first build up the life force in the lower dantian. When it is full and overflowing, then you can pull it up to the middle dantian. And then when that is full and overflowing, then we bring it into the upper dantian. What we could bring into the upper dantian, that we could take with us into the next life. So that which is below the upper dantian goes back and dissipates. It'll go back into the environment. So it's really all about cultivating the spiritual essence, and in traditional Taoist philosophy. Although just as the case with the rainbow body, there are instances when people can ascend in a lifetime and transcend and jump, basically skip a couple steps, so to speak. Not really skip them, but just accomplish them in that one lifetime. And this is talking about the diamond body and the secret of the golden flower. So the diamond body emerges out of a still place. And before we go further, like Cindy has seen, and you see like a diamond-like core when you look at my Merkaba, look at my energy body.
Yeah, it's almost like the Mason symbol, like the bottom and the top. It makes like a diamond shape, and that's like one of the first things. Well, actually, I saw like the one triangle, and then the next time the other triangle on top, which made the Mason symbol, which was really curious because in the beginning I was seeing these symbols that other entities use for their business or their club or whatever, which is curious.
And so the diamond body emerges out of a still place. It's the eternal home of our inner peace, our divine security, place of blissful indifference. This is the place where all our wounds can be healed, and a place that we can surrender to wait for our dreams to come true. It's the home of it's the home and the creation of the life force energy, which is known as Kundalini, Shakti, and libido to a degree. Like, it's related to the sexual energy, but the sexual energy is something that is transmuted into something different. And to get back to the 3 dantians, when the lower dantian is really full and it's overflowing into the middle, then we have abundant physical health. We're very vibrant and feel very strong and well. Then when that overflows into the middle dantian, all of a sudden we get an emotional peace that comes over us. And we're able to really feel love and compassion to a different degree than we can before it's full. And then it goes into the upper dantian, which is the seat of the soul up in the pineal. And at that point, then everything gets transformed and changes. We, in many cases, will see energy, see aura, see other spirits, other densities. We'll also be able to do miraculous things like healings. And, we'll develop our intuition and our psychic abilities. So it's interesting that, when you look at whether we're looking at a Chinese system or we're looking at an Indian system or other systems as well, like, that going into the Kabbalah, they all share this knowledge, which tells me it's through experience, and you could get there through different paths. Also, that there is probably commonality through what was lost through cataclysms, but perhaps left over from Atlantis and especially Lemuria, because Lemuria was more of a spiritual society. Not so much technology, more spiritual than Atlantis. So anyway, getting back into this, it's a place of deep oneness, no choices, no judgments, no limitations, no forms, no ideas. To reach a place of individuation is to know your own inner, outer, above and below, and to move into the diamond body to understand the illusion of it all. It's an energetic phenomenon and a symbol that epitomizes the totality and essence of the life force energy as it flows through our body in complete harmony. The diamond body is something that is created organically and with practice. To begin the formation of your diamond body, there are 3 steps. Number 1, move into alignment with the 0-point field, also called the Akasha. Easiest way to do this is through meditation. And so the Akasha, within the Akasha is recorded every action, emotion, thought, and experience of every living being, as most of you know. It's the living library, the Akashic record, known by quantum physicists as the 0-point field. All particles of energy are never at complete rest. They are always vibrating. The 0-point field is the lowest vibrating state of being in which life still exists. This state can be achieved through hypnosis and deep meditation. In this state, symbols can be implanted into your consciousness that work on emotional, intellectual, and imaginative levels. Images act as a magnet, attracting the energy, transforming it, and releasing it as a healing power. In this state, your psychic energy frees your physical energy, and your physical energy illuminates the psychic. This is a powerful place to use your... Where am I there? I lost it there. Okay, to use your voice is to clear any imbalance in your body somatically. So again, this is why things like, meditation is critical. Mantras are incredibly powerful too, because they can totally change our vibratory field. And some of these have been purposely brought about, especially in a language like when we're talking Sanskrit, that's very powerful and very, very positive, because English has a lot of real negative aspects to it, and I feel that's been constructed that way on purpose as well. We've talked about this before, spelling and good morning. There's so much in the English language that is kind of upside down, topsy-turvy. When you start chanting these mantras in Sanskrit, for instance, totally different vibration, purifying, uplifting, just changing our vibrational field and activating this whole process. So again, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It's all about, vibration. So in the 0 point state, through breath, imagery, music, voice, and movement, vibrational frequencies can be reached that can facilitate the release of deep energetic cords holding disease, holding illness in the body. Through consciously implanting images deep within the unconscious mind, change happens with ease on an emotional and intellectual level. All transformation begins on the level of imagery first. You can envision health or a better way of living. So the body is our school, our lesson, our protagonist, our beloved enemy, our shadow and our anima, or animus, and the deep friend of our soul. Our bodies, so much the stuff of the world, so sensitive to our inner images, are more changeable than we think, more fluid and spiritual, more infused with light than we guess. Our bodies finally become the jumping off place into the higher realms, and may accompany us in some higher form, into other worlds. And so I sent this from one of the books I have here. It's the launching of the spiritual body. He's equating it to a space shuttle, which he's showing here sitting on the launch pad. Central tower and launching pad, the physical body, right? Blasts off. Booster rockets lift off with the shuttle, the soul body or the chi body. And then you have separation of this. The booster rockets separate from the shuttle. The soul body completes the lifting of the spirit body. And the spirit body moves on, flying free. And so it's also creating the immortal fetus is another way that it is referenced as well. And that's really our purpose here, is to cultivate that. And so, we don't have to come back down into the lower realms where, karma and cause and effect, law, cause and effect are operating. We can actually lift up and beyond it, be free of that, and then some of us will choose to come back down like ascended masters and to help others.
Yeah, so, what this tells me is that the visualization that you do is so extremely important, and then you apply a feeling or a signature to that visualization, and that tells the universe, this is what you want, this is what you want to see, this is what you want to feel, this is how you want things to be. And that's the beginnings of manifestation, and it's super, super important. And that's why it's like you're programming. It's like a dialogue with yourself. And once you start to understand the importance of your own thoughts and your own visualization, then that's when you start to really take it seriously and really guard what goes into your mind and goes into your energy body. And what I've done is, there's a lot of processes and procedures and a lot of different ways to do things. But as I read and as I study the different belief systems, I take what works for me and I apply it to Cindy's belief system. So it's completely customized. And that's how that works for me.
And so we each definitely have our own paths. This is part of really coming together, is we're going to end up getting past all sorts of dogma and just accept that the other is a beautiful expression of source, different from me, different from Cindy, different from any of us. And that's beautiful, because if we were all the same, then we would be, just like the Borg that they want to make us into. Every one of us is a unique, individuated expression of source, with source living inside of us. And so that's such an important thing for everybody to realize here. And number 2, bring in awareness to your life force energy. Life force energy emanates from and is created within the body. The body is therefore the first temple on earth, and divine energy flows through. The energy feeds our unconscious and conscious minds with symbols, images, instincts, and drives, shapes every part of our being, and then it becomes our greatest gift that we are given bodies as vessels with which to observe this energy, for within our bodies the life force energy would have no container to hold it, to harness it, and to creatively express it. The physical body is infinitely intelligent. Use your intuition to tune into the energy that runs through your body and let go of all that does not serve your highest self. That was one of the things I had a hard time with when I was in my early studies. I was still really young, like maybe 12, somewhere in there, and studying Raja Yoga, Royal Yoga, and I just was thinking more in terms of ascetics, just the fact that, maybe even more Gnostic. There are some schools of thought with Gnosticism, is that the physical world and the body is almost kind of like something that holds us back and evil and something to be overcome. It's not really the case. It's not supposed to be the case. It's a vessel for consciousness in this realm, but it can also be used. It should be as healthy as possible. We should treat it as well as possible, because it will help us lift up and off into higher states of being. Create a daily practice, this is number 3, in which you bring awareness to and express your thoughts and emotions. You can do this through journaling, writing in any form, the creation of art, through speaking, singing. And this is like where the kirtans came in and were so uplifting and just amazing, sharing positive energy with a big group of people and just feeling the vibrations grow and the loving feelings grow, and there's no greater high. When emotions do not have a container, when the energetic impulses are not expressed, they somatize themselves in the body. If we listen to our bodies today, then they can speak to us about the emotions and the experiences locked deeply within. So much of our energy work is releasing things that are locked in the body that we haven't processed yet. And now, especially, it's coming to the forefront. Recognize, too, it's not just you in this lifetime that you're working through in this particular incarnation. You're working through DNA that has the effects of things, actions, deeds, karma of your ancestors, of your mom and dad, your grandma and your grandpa. That's all implanted in there too, and you're overcoming that right now in these times as well as your own karmic deeds, the things you did in the last lifetimes. So those are all there too. We must simply decide to be present and still within our bodies, and to move, to listen deeply, and trust the quiet voice within. Yes, and as we allow ourselves to let go of habits, patterns, thoughts, and behaviors that are no longer serving us, then we open up to allowing fresh life force energy to enter our lives.
And I know I've told you guys this before, but it's super, super important that our emotions are things. They're created to be expressed. So if you've had in this life or even past lives, you have these emotions that are left unexpressed. And if they're negative, they can sit there in your energy field and drill into the 3D body, and they can actually create problems. So they need to be processed. They need to be expressed. That's really, really important. Sometimes we don't know that they're even there because maybe there's traumas that happen to us, in an early enough age, and we don't understand. And that's why, it's really important, if some things come up and they don't make any sense to you, just write them down, give them a home, process them.
And so we're looking at the golden ratio, the golden mean. We're seeing it in nature. See the spiral. See like whether we're looking at a seashell, whatever we're looking at, clouds. When you're looking at a hurricane or you're looking at a tornado, there's so much like a chakra. It's the same sort of spiraling energy. Spiral, spiral, spiral. It reminds me of that. One of my favorite songs, Tool. Yeah, spiral out, keep going. One of my favorite albums, Lateralis, just great stuff. Very, very insightful. But when we look at this is nature. This is nature in action, and this is also really important. So in QiGong, in Tai Chi, circular motions build energy. Like when I started out in Taekwondo, karate, harder forms, and a lot of linear stuff. And then when I went into QiGong and Tai Chi, I weighed like 240 when I started, because I was like weightlifting, powerlifting, and the senior instructor like whacked my arm and said, "Those muscles are only going to hinder you." And it always stuck with me when they said that too, as far as flowing chi. And when we see circular movement has the moral significance of activating the light and dark forces of human nature, together with them all psychological opposites of whatever kind they may be. It's nothing less than self-awareness by means of self-brooding. The circular aspect of the golden flower holds its potential for transformation. Golden light that emanates from the flower describes best its essence. It was perhaps best stated by Saint Hildegard of Bingen. Since my childhood, I have always seen a light in my soul, but not with the outer eyes, nor through the thoughts of my heart. Neither do the 5 outer senses take part in the vision. The light I perceive is not of a local kind, but is much brighter than the cloud which supports the sun. I cannot distinguish height, breadth, or length with it. What I see in such a vision stays long in my memory. I can see and know in the same moment. I cannot recognize any sort of form in this light, although I sometimes see in it another light that is known to me as the living light. While I'm enjoying the spectacle of this light, all sadness and sorrow are vanished from my memory. All beautiful stuff, and now I think so many people are getting flashes and glimpses of their third eye opening and feeling the oneness that can come. When you're deep in meditation, at some point, you'll start to get these waves of energy. You start seeing these colors, and everything is just energy, and lights and waves, and there's a bliss that comes with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that I think that our bodies are being activated to do now that they knew in ancient times that they didn't understand for a time that we're able to do again. So a lot going on these days, and I believe that the cosmic rays, the cosmic energies coming in are a really big deal, changing our energy bodies, which actually then changes our bodies. So there's just a lot of stuff going on, a lot of changes in hormones, a lot of things that we don't understand that are coming to light now. And I think that's going to be part of the new earth, is just this journey of discovering, which is really, really fun to do. Sometimes it's the journey rather than the final discovery. It's the journey, which is everything.
As Rosewar says, all is good. Just let things flow off like a grain of sand. Most definitely. That's where you could stay above the storm. And we have talked about Buddhist detachment, like when we're under different types of attacks. And when we see things that might be disturbing, in order to not get pulled into the fray, because we are definitely all going to be faced with some serious challenges as we move forward. And again, we must operate from the higher self as we do this, and view everything with the lens of, am I contributing to the betterment of the all? Because when you do that, you are going to be activating your light body and helping yourself ultimately. So ultimately, service to others is service to self. And at the same time, if you are truly serving yourself in a positive way, you're going to also be serving others.
Yeah, that's really important. If you are serving yourself, it is automatic when it comes to serving others, because you're going to have the ability, the energy, the patience, and whatever it takes to help somebody through whatever they're going through, as long as you do take care of yourself first. So that's really important, and especially to the moms out there. Really, I know you guys put yourself at the bottom of the pile when it comes to who gets what and when this or that gets done. And I would just like to invite you to, work on putting yourself first for, just a few days, and see how things work out throughout the house. See if things fall into a little bit better order. Because you are important. You are number one. People depend on you. And how you feel really, truly matters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So cultivate that light within. So everybody, I want to thank you so much for your support again. Please do join us over on Discord. And let me just see if I plug this in. This should work to get you all there, I think. I know there's links on some of the videos. I put it on this one too to get us over. And, continue working together, growing together, and loving on each other and having fun. And also, thank you for your support on Patreon and on Ko-Fi, because we can't do it without you guys. So, as always, guys, much love. We love you guys. Thank you for being part of this family. God bless and namaste.
God bless and namaste.